So hi, Assalamualaikum everyone. My name is Wan Hazwan Fikri bin Hasnan. Before we start our live streaming for today, we should start with Umul Kitab Al-Fatihah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursalin. Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Allahumma a'inna bi-iman wa amisna bi-iman wa lil jannati al-iman. Allahumma ghfir lana dhunubana wal walidina warhamhuma kama rabbana saghira. Allahumma tahti lana bis-khatimah wa la tahti alaina bis-khatimah. Rabbana la tuzigh qulubana ba'da idh hadaytana wa hab lana min ladunka rahmah innaka antal wahhab. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina azaban nar. Wassallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wasallam. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. So hi everyone, welcome to our first webinar, live streaming through Facebook IPRMSA Melaka Chapter. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Wan Hazwan Fikri bin Hasnan. I'm the president for IPRMSA Melaka Chapter. And I would like to thank to everyone who joined us for tonight through Zoom apps and the audience in Facebook live streaming. I really appreciate your attendance and your effort to spend your time on our first ever webinar for this semester. And the title of this webinar is Break the Rules, Set Yourself Free, Pandemic Edition. I would like also to say thank you to our honorable panel, Dr. Nurati Jalil, or known as Dr. Bobby by a few UiTM students. So welcome, Doctor, to our Zoom apps and first webinar. And also, I also want to thank to our beloved PR lecturers and lecturers from other institutions. Lastly, to all the students of IPRMSA Melaka Chapter and from different institutions, welcome and enjoy for today's forums. Thank you for your support. Last but not least, I really hope that you guys will gain something from tonight's forum. I'm Hazwan Hasnan. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hazwan, for the Dua recitation and your few words just now. So, the title of today's discourse is Break the Rules, Set Yourself Free, Pandemic Edition. So today, we have Dr. Nurianti Jali as our panelist, and also we have Ms. Intan Zarisraya as the moderator. Now, I'd like to invite our moderator. Without further ado, I welcome Ms. Intan to take over the session.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. President, and to our MC. I would also like to thank IPRMSA for giving me this opportunity to moderate today's discourse. Again, hello and good evening, everyone. I hope everyone is in a pink of health. So, welcome to the intellectual discourse this evening, titled Break the Rules, Set Yourself Free, Pandemic Edition. So before we continue with our session, allow me to brief a little bit on the Zoom housekeeping. I would like to ask your cooperation to mute yourself throughout this session in order to minimize the noise and interruptions. And you can also choose to have your video on or off throughout the session. And if you have any questions, you can always drop the question on the chat box below. So the format for this forum will be 30 minutes on the sharing with the panelists and 15 minutes for the Q&A session. So before we begin, I would like to welcome Dr. Nurianti Jali. Hi, Doctor.
Oh, hi. Hi, everyone. Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you look great.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Now, allow me to read a little bit on the background of today's discourse. The title of the discourse is Break the Rules, Set Yourself Free, Pandemic Edition. And today's discourse, we will mainly discuss on how to survive the online distance learning. And as we know, this is a very new situation in Malaysia. So the transition to online distance learning has impacted not only lecturers, but also the students who have had to adjust to a new learning environment. And when we're talking about academics, obviously the students as well as the lecturers are the one who impacted the most. So hence, we are going to discuss in depth on this matter. Now, before we continue, Perhaps I could introduce myself a little bit. My name is Intan Soraya binti Shafawi, and I'm the ESCO of Academic of IPRMSA Melaka Chapter. So I would like to take this opportunity to introduce Dr. Nurianti Jali. Dr. Nurianti is the Assistant Professor of Communication Studies, College of Arts and Sciences, Department of Languages, Literature and Communication Studies of Northern South University. She obtained her PhD in Mass Communication, Scripps College of Communication, Ohio University, class of 2017, with her dissertation of Media and Politics, Students' Attitudes and Experts' Opinions towards Citizen Journalism and Political Outcomes in Malaysia. And also, Dr. Nurianti has obtained her Master's in Mass Communication, Faculty of Communication and Media Studies, UiTM University Technology Mara, class of 2010, with her dissertation of Online Chat Rooms and Sexual Predators, a case study on Yahoo Messenger chat rooms. And lastly, she's also an alumna of Faculty of Human Ecology, University Putra Malaysia. I can say that is such an impressive academic background, Doctor. So to add on to that, Dr. Nurianti has done a lot of research regarding the online distance learning, and her current research is about internet connectivity and online learning in 2036 Layar Sarawak. And also, Dr. Nurianti has published a lot of articles regarding online learning, such as lack of internet access in Southeast Asia and digital divide in Southeast Asia, also challenges on online teachings. So I can see that she is the perfect candidate to talk about the topic that we're going to discuss today. Yeah? Again, thank you so much for being with us, Doctor. So shall we start now?
Yep, definitely.
Okay, maybe to kickstart our conversation for today, I'm going to start with a very general question regarding on open distance learning. And my question is, how do you see the preparedness of our local university in adapting the ODL? The floor is yours, Doctor.
Okay, so online distance learning is not something that we expect to do 100% because when we, at least in Malaysia, when that happened in the first place, it was because of the pandemic, and everything was like happened almost like instantly, and then the schools, our school at UiTM had to really work on with whatever that we have to make sure that teaching and learning continues. So in terms of preparedness, I believe not only just here in Malaysia, but also across the world, everyone is every school is having problem with this. But as time progressed, that I believe administrations in universities in Malaysia, also my university in the States, they are trying to make the best out of the situation. So right now, as time progressed, I believe that we have a better structure in terms of executing ODL, and I believe all professors and lecturers are also given trainings during the what we call it national lockdown that we have in Malaysia, given training and whatnot, and how to prepare content and how to make sure students participate in class, and how to make sure students are not overburdened with what we call that homeworks and assignments. So we are learning because it was so sudden. So everything was everyone is trying to learn, not only you as the students, but also for us professors. So everything is because it was so sudden. So but now in terms of we are much improved in that sense.
Yeah, we can see that the students and lecturers are struggling, but they are still trying their very best to adapt with the current situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
But does ODL do justice to all parties? Like for lecturers, will ODL only benefit lecturers with ITs or savvy lecturers, or lecturer in general? And for students, does ODL only benefit those with the privileged students, like they have the good access, have a conducive environment to study, and or students in general? So What's your opinion on that?
My opinion is that we have to understand the landscape in terms of like internet connectivity here in Malaysia, also across Southeast Asian region. We do have a connectivity problem where certain places they have like a more stable internet. They have like speedier, faster internet connection compared to other places. So we've seen numerous like reports. People were like, you know, having troubles accessing content online, and also to locked in to all these new platforms just to join classes. So the problems are universal, not just for the students, but also for lecturers. And when you talk about digital skills, you talked about whether or not professors are equipped with all the skills to teach online. Even if the young ones like us, we also have, you know, problems and conducting online learning, because it's not something that we've done before, and there are different things that we have to really pay attention to. So right now, if you and me were talking, it's good because it's just you and me. But sometimes, you get what I mean. I have tons of students. My class, we have like sometimes 30 students. We have like I actually at the beginning of the pandemic, I was still with UITM, so I taught like my master's degree class at UITM. So my students were lucky because they are all from here, from Selangor, so they had no problems with internet connection and whatnot. But when I try to speak to students, when I do projects and whatnot, but people are from outside Selangor, we talk about Sarawak and whatnot, or when I speak to my students in other countries, they have internet problems. Sometimes when I participate in workshops and whatnot, a few of the participants had to leave the Zoom session just because they do not have stable internet. So you can see that even for work, let alone for learning throughout the day, for you to do like online learning, we have to admit that we do have like internet connectivity problem. And in terms of skills, the older professors might not as savvy as the young ones, and they have this what we call it it's hard for them to learn because it's new to them. If it's new for us, the young ones, what about imagine professors who are 60s? How do they want to learn all this new skill using all these different apps? So that will be one of the challenges for professors. But for students, that will be if you ask me, it will be internet connection.
So, okay, thank you, Doctor.
Yeah.
Now, moving on with the quite an issue that has been circulated online, which is the students' mental health. So, one of the major consequences of the transition to online learning is its impact on the students' mental health. So, in your opinion, have you seen the reality of the students in Malaysia, where online learning has brought challenges, stress, and workload that have affected their mental health? And in your opinion, what are the possible solutions that can help to combat these problems for a smooth learning process?
Okay, like to be honest with you, I have nieces and nephews who are in university right now. So one of my nieces is actually a SAST science UTM. So she's never been to university, so it's the first time for her, and the first time for her also to what we call it to participate in university level learning, but through what we call a computer, like online learning. So for her, it was overwhelming a little bit because she's doing STEM studies, and also because her schedule class starts at 8 or 9, and then it ends at 5 p.m. So it's a little bit overwhelming for her because nonstop. It's like school, but you have to be in front of your computer all the time. So I think what we can do is that this is not for just students, but also for professors to be more understanding that online learning, when you have face-to-face interaction in class, is different because we can, it's different because you're not staring at your computer all the time. But learning on internet learning, online learning, it's going to bring what we call it a
Fatigue.
little bit more way. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
what we call Zoom fatigue because of that. Because we never stop. We have to be like in front of the computer all the time. So I think what we can do is that for institutions and also for professors to be more understanding about the
Students' conditions.
reality, yeah.
Yeah.
Students' condition, because the fact that students are taking several classes in one day sometimes, and it's different reality perhaps for professors. So we have to really weigh in, find that balance, and I think also for students, if because online learning, there are two kinds of online learning that we do. One is synchronous learning, where we do face to face, and the other one is when we do asynchronous learning, where your professor going to share links to you, recorded video, and give you what we call it the freedom to choose. The videos and YouTube videos that they record themselves giving lecture and whatnot, and give you the freedom to choose when you want to watch it. So there are two ways for you to do online learning. One is synchronous, face to face live, and the second one is asynchronous. So I think professors also have to be creative with try to integrate asynchronous and synchronous learning, so that you give somewhat of a freedom for the students to have that choice, to adapt, and also to choose when to access the content, because you have to understand, because the students are also human. So I want to share a little bit for what we do, what my friends do currently, because I'm still in Malaysia. My friends are doing high flags in South Dakota, high flags, and this is North American thing, in Canada, in Canada, in the US. We have this high flex approach to teaching, where they give options to student, that student can come to class, or they can join live session like this, where I teach in class, and then they have like live Zoom that capture me talking in front of the class. And the third option is to record the whole session and let the student watch whenever they want. So basically, for one lecture, you have three options, and these three options are free for student to choose. You get what I mean? So if you want to come to class, come over to class. If you want to watch live from home, you can watch live from or you want to watch it later. It's up to you. So you are given these three choices. But this is North American thing. We do not have it here in Malaysia. So what we can do is that in Malaysia, what we can do it is like for the institution and also professors to be more understanding. And also for the students in a way that I want for you guys to also take it as a
challenge.
And take it as a challenge in a way, so that you don't overburden yourself with all these negative thoughts. You get what I mean? So this is the condition that we're in, and we have to go through it. But the only thing that can make this burden a little bit lighter is for you to change the way you look at it. So if you can speak to your professors, so we are having this kind of problem, and please speak up. Please speak up to your lecturers, to your professor. They are also human too. They will try to understand. They will try to understand what's the best way to approach this online learning thing, because they're also learning, because it was also sudden for them and also sudden for you. So there is a need for communication for you guys, the students, to talk to your professors and let them know what your problem is, what your problems are, so that you can find that middle ground, and then to get things a lot better, improve, I guess.
But what if the students are not confident enough to like talk to their professors? How can they combat the problems, like their mental health? How do they do that? How do they manage?
Are you talking about like mental health, or you want to talk about facing difficulties they want to share with the professor, or you want to specifically talking about like mental health?
Mental health, probably.
Okay, from mental health is something private. So you know what I mean? It's something private. It's very stigmatized here in the Southeast Asian context. It's still very stigmatized. It's not what we have in the Western world. It's more if you have like mental illness and whatnot, you can just go to like you see shrinks, you see therapists. It's not it's not odd, it's normal. But here in our context here, Asian context, Southeast Asian context, is still stigmatized in a way. But I personally, when I was at UITM, I had students coming to me talking about their mental health conditions. And I'm open to that. I'm not an expert, but I have ears to learn for you guys to tell me things. So I as a person that went through that learning experience way before you guys did, I perhaps could share whatever that I experienced, so that you have this wider perspective on how to see things. So I guess students, find professors that you or lecturers, comfortable with, and go and speak to them. If not, UITM sure has counselor kan. They have all these emails sending out. If you have these problems, that you go and see them. Go and give it a try. Go and see. Do not keep it to yourself.
Right. Okay. Thank you. That's pretty much helpful for the students. So if they have any problems, they can share with someone they are comfortable with. And however, based on your experience, Doctor, how does this pandemic has been treating you as an academician? Does it affect you physically, mentally, and emotionally? And how do you handle that?
Like for me, like I said at the beginning, it was also sudden. So there is a lot of preparation needs to be done. In fact, now I have to prepare for my next year syllabus and all my videos for my next for my spring semester. I'm so overwhelmed with things. So I guess me myself, what I experience is that I feel, of course, Zoom fatigue that we spoke about earlier, and then I also experience some sort of emotional overwhelm sometimes, because I often forget things. That today I have this workshop. To be honest with you, today, right now, I have workshop with people from Dublin, but I double booked myself. So I chose you guys because I said yes to you. Yeah, and I think it's a workshop I can just participate next year. So that's one of the things that I experience. Because it's not physical workshop. It's not physical meetup. So I tend to overbook myself with things, and I tend to get overwhelmed with things because there's no organization on my side to keep track of things I sign up to. And then also, of course, in terms of preparing materials for online teaching is different when it comes to face-to-face class. So I would say it's a little bit overwhelming, but I'm trying to organize, be more organized with things, and try to keep okay, this is whether you want it or not, this is going to be a part of teaching and learning in the future. So you have to get grip of yourself, and then try to learn the art of teaching this way, or else you're going to be burdened with things just because you thought that you can't make it. Yeah.
So your mindset is important, right?
Very.
Okay, thank you. But besides challenges of online learning, are there any opportunity that future graduates can get from doing this course online, in terms of job scopes or anything that might be useful?
I think okay, your question is that future students, do they have opportunity if they future graduates, if they do online learning, do they have opportunity? Yes, of course. It's happening across the world, online learning. It's not just for us. So there are some going to be out there, because everyone is doing what we're doing right now because of the pandemic. Maybe not in certain states in the States, in the US, but basically with countries experiencing high number of COVID-19, they are doing this all online. So opportunities are there. But I would say that for students, if you do have extra time, right now, maybe final year students, you only have like 1, 2 class that you have for your degree remaining. What you can do is you go and sign up to other. This is going to put another
Oh my
another
God,
task.
it's gonna be another
Yeah,
task job.
but yeah, yes. But then again, it's something that I don't want our students, especially you, because you used to be. I used to teach at UITM.
Yeah.
I don't want our students to be too take things as it is. I don't want to do like extra effort to learn this. I believe that this is the right time for you to try to venture out and look for courses, free courses online, and try to sharpen that online skills, because that's the future. If you can see right now, everything is going digital.
Online. Yeah.
We're doing, yeah. So there will be opportunity for those who do that extra effort, and even those who don't. Even those who don't, there's still need for you guys later. It's just that, yeah lah, tengok lah your result macam mana, right? Yeah, sebab lah online learning. And
Yeah.
yes.
So okay, thank you. Now, I hope it will help the future graduates to make use the opportunity and benefits that we can get from online learning. And
Yes.
now I would like to humbly ask for your wise words for the students who are having difficulties to learn online during this pandemic. I mean, in terms of their reception, their difficulties, money, internet, and stuff. What would you advise them?
My advice is that I cannot help you if it's physical problems. You get what I mean, in terms of like you do not have internet. I might not have that power to fix your internet, but for those who have that internet connection, but then you feel like, oh my goodness, I'm very overwhelmed with things. I do not feel good doing this all the time. My advice is that sometimes I reflect on myself. Sometimes I feel that we tend to be overwhelmed by our own thoughts, and sometimes we are not organized. Myself, I'm talking about myself, okay? So if you feel the same way, then please, do what I do.
The same thing.
So what I do is that, So what I do is I try to like sort out my timetable and make sure that I have time away from computer. Like I don't want to be overwhelmed with my computer and all this information flowing and coming nonstop. So because if you do not strategize, if you do not take care of your mind, you know what I mean, your mind, and then it's going to be a problem to you later. So what I do is that I try to sort out my timetable and make sure that I have that break from all these things, because it's going to make your life a lot better in a way, because we step aside from all this thing. And number 2 is that do speak to somebody. If you have any professors that you feel that okay, this lecture comfortable with, go and speak. And if you do have another professors that you feel like there's too much assignment for this, and there is I have another classes that given this kind of assignment as well, speak to them, so that you speak to all. The key is to speak up. Yes. And other than that, in terms of internet connectivity and whatnot, this is something that I'm trying to look at the best way to try to close the gap. It's a physical problem. It's not like problem that I can give advice on, but that one I have to put that one aside. But in terms of mental health and whatnot, I guess that one thing is try to get organized, try to step away from your work give it like, okay, Sunday, I memang tak nak buat anything. I just wanna, I make sure I get things done Saturday.
Take your time to relax. Yeah.
Janganlah relax from Monday to Sunday. So you choose like one day to relax.
Day,
you know what I mean? Yes, one day, and you just ignore things. Just try to like refresh and relax. And if you do have friends, like friends and experience the same thing like you do, go and talk to them. Communication always key. Yeah, talk to them, because then you understand that you are not alone and you are doing this together with your friends. And in the end, this is a process for you. My process of getting my degree is different than you now. But your reality is not yours alone. You other friends are also experienced. Yes, yeah. So try to talk to somebody.
Okay, thank you so much, Doctor. Now,
all right,
we're coming to an end, but I have a everyone is born with a different background, different family background. And one of the reasons why students are experiencing the difficulties is because their family don't understand. So what is your tips to them to talk to their parents about what they're going through online learning?
Yes, I think one of the problems I noticed through my research and whatnot is that in terms of online learning, there are different facets of different things happening at once that making online learning a little bit harder for those who are learning online. One is for students. For students, your parents might not understand that you are going to school right now, because like in the middle of like you doing stuff, you're watching something, like your professors are doing synchronous learning, and then suddenly your mother kata, okay, goreng ayam and whatnot. So yes, sometimes that's the reality. And then your father come, yes, sidai lah pakai baju. Right, that is the reality. So I think again we go back to our my previous advice is communicate to your parents. Memang what we found through my research, through me speaking to parents, is that they still have lack of understanding. Online learning, what is it? Like, it's actually like school. It's like school, and this student needs not to be disturbed when they are learning. You tak datang pergi sekolah and suruh anak you sidai baju, right? So you let them go to school. So I think there's need for student also, other than maybe your teachers ataupun siapa to advise parents, but for you to perhaps speak to your parents. Okay, at this time I actually have this class. Lay out your timetable so that they know this is your school time. Do not knock on. If you have like, make sure also for students, sometimes we are not lucky to have a room to ourselves to study. Yes, conducive environment. So you need to have that conversation with your parents so that they know that you need that space, whether it's the depan TV, whether it's dekat beranda, whether it's someplace. It doesn't need to be a room. It has to be a specific place that you feel like this is the place for me to go to school right now in this house. And then you need that respect for your parents. So your parent will not know unless you tell them. They are not, sometimes our parents are not well educated like us. So they need to be advised. They are not ahli nujum. So that there's a need for you to also tell them. And then they want your parents. They will understand. They want the best for you. Then they will try to accommodate, I believe.
Okay. Now, I think that's it for our sharing session. Now we will open the floor for question and answers. So anyone who has questions, please let me know on the chat box below. I have one with me now. I will read it to you. Okay. First, from Fatin Artira. It's really hard to communicate with our friends during this pandemic regarding group assignments. And sometimes we have to deal with the undisciplined and not well committed group mates. And that's hard in the process. So do you have any nice or motivated words to these people?
For me, this is not unique to online learning. It's actually happening even when we do class in class. Yeah, so what I do proactively as a professor for that class, for my classes, even until now, is that I prepare like group evaluation. So your group mark will depends on your contribution because every member in your group will have to evaluate you. If you tak buat kerja, your group mate will give you kosong. So all this feedback form will be anonymous. I do it online. I do it all the time. If my students yang pernah ambil my class, they will know. So group assignment depends on evaluation of your friend yang akan evaluate whether or not you work. And I will check. I'll check lah, betul tak orang ni tak buat kerja, betul tak orang ni buat kerja. So that's how professors, I believe, like lecturers and whatnot, have to try to help student that way, because students might not be able to speak up. So sometimes we have class with seniors dalam kita punya kelas, and then we're not able to speak up to your seniors yang tua 2 tahun 3 tahun mereka, you takut, and then you lah buat kerja untuk your students, your team members. So I think that problem has to be more on the lecturer side, less on the student side. But student side, if you're too scared to speak up, again, communicate with your professor. This person, this person not working on this assignment, so I have to be honest with you. It's my work. So I believe, again, it's a communication and also progressive. Yes. We don't want people to become ahli lelap and then get A's because of your work. Yeah.
Okay, so we have another question from Anwar Idaha.
Yeah.
So, hello, I'm Anwar Idaha from UNIZA. What's your take on teaching special education students, example autism, dyslexia, deaf or blind students via remote learning? I think there would be major challenges for them, especially. Good question.
Yeah, based on my research, I also spoke to teachers. This is not a university lecture, but I spoke to teachers who are teaching special needs, what we call it, students. So it's something new. Again, we have to go back to my point. It's something new, and these teachers are not trained to teach special needs students to do online learning. So what I found is that these teachers did not get to do online learning at all because the student dalam kelas wouldn't even payah now pay attention, let alone on online learning, what we call it, online learning mode. So it's a little bit hard for the teachers. So at least to the teachers I spoke to who are teaching special needs students, they had to stop for a while teaching because the school closed.
Yeah.
So the only way for them to teach is to have the student in class.
Yeah.
I believe right now there are a lot of research people are doing to look at how do we teach these special needs children, these special needs students, even like the adults online. So there has to be different methods to it. You cannot teach the blind using visuals. You have to use podcasts, perhaps. If those deaf students, how do you go about with teaching online? Perhaps remote learning. You can send physical notes and let the student do physical notes through the one that you post. So this is actually a question that I cannot answer because there are ongoing research on it, and even the teachers I spoke to, the one that I shared with you, they said they had to stop for a while because they could not do it.
They cannot do anything.
Yes, at least for the amount of teachers that I spoke to.
Okay, I hope it answers your question, Anwar. Now moving on to Said Faiz, we have question from Said Faiz. The question is, what are the possibilities of future where learning through the screens of our computer is a part of our daily lives? So no more physical interactions required. What would be the impact?
The impact would be, I think, if you look beyond schooling even work for us right now. Even my husband no longer go to the office. He's an engineer, and he works just next on my kitchen table. There he is. That's his office. And then that's the reality in the even when you work later. So now we are transitioning from having that physical class and or physical office to remote office. You're doing your work at your home and whatnot. And it's not impossible that schools in the future, we're not talking 5 years, we're not talking maybe 10 years, is going to be full online. The downside to it is that, again, you have to understand that human are social beings. We like to see our friends in class. We like it, and we are whether you want it or not, whether you declare yourself as introvert or but then again, we are still social beings. We like to have people around us, interactions. So the downside to it will be that we're going to have lack of human interaction other than this. But that reality to have like online learning 100% in the future, it's not something that's not something that impossible. It is very possible because there are a lot of degrees that now also offered online. You can do you can see, because people are learning, hey, we can do work actually from the comfort of our own house, and then we can study. These people can learn from their own house online. So why not we do everything like online? So it's not impossible. I think it's very possible future reality.
Okay, thank you so much. I hope it answers Said Faiz. Thank you, Said Faiz. Now moving on to Izzat Azrin. His question is, I think video recording lectures is better because students can replay it if they don't understand certain parts, or they can download it first if they have streaming connection problems. So what is your take on videos and live streaming? Which is better? Your own opinion.
Like for me, I like to have, if you ask me, when I first start my class, I will go and do this one simple survey, like, okay, well, can I know your internet connection? So what's the situation? So that I get this whole picture of, my audience, my participants. If I do on live streaming all the time, will these students be able to participate? If not, then what can I do? So I like to not do live as much as I do asynchronous because of that problem. But if my students like live all the time, so why not? I don't mind also. So I think it depends. You have to really know your audience. So this is what I also told like teachers and whatnot. And teachers, I also spoke to teachers. I also spoke to like professors, lecturers about how do you deal with students that have internet problems and students who feel overwhelmed with like live Zoom sessions. So what you can do is, one, record. Two, perhaps you can create like maybe some people, they don't like to watch things. If your course or your content is simple, it doesn't need like a complicated visuals, perhaps you can do podcasts. You can send it, like you can create podcasts like on Spotify, or you can like make a short podcast and upload it on SoundCloud, or send so that student can share it like on WhatsApp and listen to it anytime they want. You get what I mean? So you have to get like creative and understand your audience. And again, I think there is a need for us to communicate about everything. So students, you need to tell your professors, okay, professor, I have this problem, internet problem, and I cannot take too much information, and I cannot, and I believe if you record yourself, if you record yourself, that I can have that opportunity to repeat and learn from your video. Because that's one of the feedback I received from my students at UITM Doctor. It's a lot better if you do like a recording so that we can repeat masa nak final, we can always repeat whatever that you said. Kalau you cakap salah, and then we answer salah lah. So I said, okay. So that's what I did. I have tons of like videos I shared with my students for my Asian Falls class. So yeah.
I've entered your class before.
You
Asian
yeah,
politics.
you did. Oh, you did?
Yeah, last semester.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh really? Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
I enjoyed it.
Like
So much.
Thank you.
Okay, now I hope it answers your question. Now moving on to Muhammad Firhan. Hello, doctor. My question to you is: in terms of time and work, are your overall expectations the same as or different from that traditional school? I mean, I think probably physical and online. Are your expectations the same? You put on students?
What do you mean? Like, what does he mean? I mean, like, he means like in terms of workload or in terms of what?
I think in terms of the project that was submitted by the students, I guess.
I think we have, again, we have to really understand the situation. I mean, like the situation. Okay, some of our, if you talked about our faculty, some of our assignments, we need the students to go out and interview people, but we cannot do that anymore. And then perhaps we have to tone down a little bit, I guess, considering the situation. If you are talking to me, this is my personal opinion. I'm not representing anybody else. I am representing myself. I need to tone down a little bit in a way that, but then again, it still serves the learning objective. Still serve the learning objective. Students can learn because the fact that COVID is happening outside. COVID is happening outside, and there are so many distractions for you, student, also at home. And you are also taking other things, also like class, and different class also requires you to take to do other assignments as well. So I think, if me personally, I would tone down in terms of the workload, because I don't want my students to have this overwhelming. Maybe I do a more my evaluation will be depends on one day we're gonna do like, okay, Zoom session, and you present like 5 minutes each. You need to participate. I can see whether or not you read whatever that I sent yesterday. So I could do that. I mean, like, get creative with how I evaluate students. But in terms of my expectation would it be the same? It's in physical class. I think it will be my reality. The reality is right now I don't do it the same way like I did in physical class.
I see. Thank you, doctor. Now from Carol Ashley Ajira. Hi, doctor. I'm Ajira, part 1 student from UiTM Lendu. So what do you think of online learning is not as effective as physical classes? This is because evaluation like tests are being conducted away from exam halls, but through online exam learning. So as a communication student, it's kind of hard for us because in this course, we are supposed to socialize and meet people. How do you evaluate the online exam, I guess?
Again, considering whatever situation that we have now, we can let you go and socialize physically. But what perhaps we can do is socialize online. Online. That's the most that we can do. The most that we can do. But in terms of that's the downside to online learning, because sometimes when we do courses who involve like, okay, you need to go and do outreach program dekat rumah orang tua or something, or you go and do this program with I think usually this is what we do at a faculty level for certain courses, but we cannot do that anymore. So that engagement, online engagement, online learning would have less impact compared to ones that we have in physical class. So again, online learning is not perfect. Online learning is a way for us to make sure learning continues despite our situation. Yes, we try to work it out. So this is the one that we have right now. So So back to that question, yeah, that could be the downside to what we call it, the weakness to online learning, that the student might not have that opportunity to really learn and to really, experience that course or that subject that they're learning, in contrast to when they are in physical class. So another point that she was asking about exam and whatnot, exam is also an issue when it comes to online learning, because students can easily Google it because you're at home. So we
Students can
have to
discuss.
that's a challenge for us, for professors, for lecturers, that we have to okay, what do we do with our final exam? What do we want the student to do? So what we do right now is that try to let students give a more critical opinion about things, instead of having a
Direct questions.
very yes straightforward. Okay, theory ini apa, and then you can easily go and Google it, right? So you have to get creative. That's on the professor side.
Okay, so I really hope
Yeah.
it answers the question. Now moving on to Nazira Daud. Hi doctor, my question is, ODL is still so new, and for us to stay organized, it might take different ways for different environment. So what is your advice for those who are facing ODL with quite bad environment?
What do you mean bad environment? It's too generic. So I would yeah. So that is also an issue with ODL. We are seeing cases where this is not Malaysia, just Malaysia. It's happening across the world. If you go and Google it, issue with online learning also is that it's taken away safety for certain students, because one, you do not necessarily have a good environment at home. You might have a bad environment because you are exposed to certain perhaps certain family members who are not who are aggressive, who are not understanding of your situation, who are not that good to you. So this is an issue that's happening across the world, and there are cases where students have been caught on Zoom where they were abused, and that of course not enable students to learn, right? So if my advice for you to get organized in that kind of situation, I don't think that's the right advice. That's the right advice. But again, I think it's a tricky question. For me, it's a tricky question. If you are in a bad environment, in a really bad environment, you have to let someone know about it. Talk to your professor, okay, my situation is like this. At home, this is what I'm facing. So I do not have that time where I can do online all the time. I do synchronous learning all the time. I cannot Zoom all the time. So your professor, if they are sensitive and they care about you, they will try to tailor it for you. Yeah, they will tailor the material, they will tailor the teaching for you. Again, another way to do it is perhaps to get you out of the place, or if you can still stay in the place, you still stay in your home, your lecturer perhaps can send you recording of classes and let you choose when is the best time for you to access the content. If it's not related to safety punya problems at home, you can still ask your lecturers to send you the recorded what we call it, lectures. And yes. So that will help a little bit in terms of your time, so you can choose when you want to watch it.
Okay, so I think that's all the questions that we have today. So
Yes.
We would like to hear your any last words from you in case to motivate us to go through this one last semester. Any last words for us all?
my final words for all of you is to stay focused. It's just a semester left, and then after that you're done, and you're gonna go and find a job. And please, like like I said again, your mental health is something that is important, that you need to take care all the time. Always like put that a priority, but at the same time make sure that you don't let go of your education because you feel like, oh, this things are too overwhelming that I just want to get rid of it. No, try to find that balance. And if you ever have any problem with anything, like try to find someone. Yeah, talk to someone. Yeah, we have like, I believe the other time I shared like on my Instagram number of UITM counselors for students, because I have a lot of you guys following me on Instagram. So I shared this because I noticed that some students, they are overwhelmed with things, and then they feel like, oh, I'm so depressed, and some even diagnosed by doctors they're depressed. So this is not a joke anymore. This is not it's not what we call it, apa namanya, penyakit yang it's not, it's a reality for many of our friends. So again, talk it out. Do not keep it to yourself. If you are comfortable to speak to your parents, but your parents don't understand, they don't really take it as you want them to take it, find professional counselors at UITM. But if you find like counselor also tak mencapai whatever that you want them to help you with, try to find what we call other people, doctors that can help you out. So that would be my final advice. And please do your best for your final, and please just stay strong, and we are in this together.
Thank you so much, Dr. Narati, for being with us today, and thank you for the insights on ODL. And I really hope that everyone here, it will help everyone that are big that is with us today. And thank you so much to everyone for participating. Now, I will pass the floor to our MC for photo session.
Photo session. Okay. I will screenshot this.
Wait. I need to fix my hair. Because it's so hot here at my house. I turned off the fan. Okay. All right. Where's everyone? Okay.
Everyone can turn on your camera. Ready? Okay. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Thomas.
Thank you,
everyone, for
participating.
Okay.
Thank you, Doctor. Have a good day. Have a good weekend.
All right, you too. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
And please start recording. Okay, bye. The photos. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Doctor.